aiming to tackle surging crime by giving power back to judges so they can keep repeat offenders behind bars. After facing months of criticism, Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul says the state needs to focus on making people feel safe again.
A very basic human need is to feel safe and secure for yourself and your family and your parents. And when that evaporates, that shatters the foundation that every person needs to have. We have to establish that foundation of security once again.
Joining me now, Jack Brewer, CEO of the Brewer Group, evangelist and former NFL player. Jack, thanks for being here. Why didn't this happen earlier? Why did Kathy Hochul and Democrats around the country decide, all of a sudden, people don't like to feel unsafe? After polls told them people don't like to feel unsafe. It seems this should have happened way early.
No doubt. I mean, you need law and order, but whenever you take the order out of law and order, this is what you get, and that's exactly what the Democrats have done across this nation, unfortunately, pushing their soft narratives upon the American people. You can do that on social issues, but when it comes to crime, when it comes to safety, you have to be tough on crime. You cannot take a step back and allow criminals to take over our streets. When I look at New York and see that there's been a 60% increase in crime in 2022 amongst these soft on crime policies, remember, they're letting people just run into stores, grab stuff and run out. And so imagine what the crime rates would be if they actually enforced the crime across New York City. This is embarrassing. It's not right for people to not be able to protect themselves and their families because politicians want to appease voters. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to this liberalism that's been pushed across New York City and many parts of this nation. And it must stop. We got to get back to a nation of law and order.
From New York up I-95, I-91 to Massachusetts, 12 Massachusetts state troopers fired Friday for refusing to comply with the governor's vaccine mandate. How is this benefiting the people of Massachusetts?
Not at all, because those are probably great men and women, fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers who now can't work there and serve their fellow brothers and sisters. You know, if you look across the country at all of the law enforcement agencies, I work pretty closely with law enforcement, and you see that they are having such a hard time hiring. This has been an industry that's just been plagued with this liberal push, dehumanizing them when people look at police officers and they don't even see them as people anymore. And it's just absurd when you have some of the greatest men and women who are actually heroes in the communities, doing things that even someone like myself, I have no desire to be a police officer because of the way that they're treated. And so people are doing jobs that the majority of the population refuses to do, but then you don't hold them in prestige and in high honor. It's disrespectful, and I think it's just a mirror of what's going on across our world and across our societies whenever we have our heroes that can't actually be acknowledged as such. And so this is a bad problem.
Finally, Jack, you're going to join nearly a dozen kids later today as Governor Ron DeSantis signs a bill there in Florida that invests $70 million to promote responsible fatherhood and support foster children throughout Florida. Amazing bill here. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis, again, in the state of Florida, Speaker Sproles, and everyone else is leading on this issue. You know, we have an epidemic in our nation. People talk about criminal justice. People talk about civil rights and social justice, where this all starts with fatherhood. And we have dehumanized fathers, and we try to not focus on the importance of fatherhood. And this bill does that. It addresses the foster system and all these poor kids that are aging out of our foster care system here in Florida and across this country. I hope the entire nation jumps onto this because there is no other issue in America that's more important right now. When you talk about reading and math proficiency levels, you talk about 71% of kids dropping out of high school are fatherless. You talk about the homeless crisis that's happening. The mass majority are fatherless. And so mental health issues, the mass majority are fatherless. And so I applaud Governor DeSantis for continuing to lead on issues that the woke left doesn't want to talk about. Yeah. Many even faith-based leaders don't want to talk about. We need to establish the father back in our society, like Christ talks about, like the Bible talks about, and put the father back as the head of the household.
Jack, it's the best job in the world being a dad. Jack Brewer, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you, sir.